Chris is the CEO of Harmonic Bionics and is one of our experts in robotics. Chris, you're up.
Thank you, Robin. So I'd like to start with two questions. One on the current situation in robotics and robotic-assisted surgery, and then your own forecast, where you think it's going. So Carolina, could you put polling question one up now? What percentage of surgeries are being done robotically, robotic assistance across all specialties?
The top result is 5 to 25%. 50
okay, it's actually less when you look at all specialties. So very good. I mean, it is. We've only scratched the surface. So this is after 20 years of soft tissue work with Intuitive, and the last 10 years of trying to advance robotics even in orthopedics. So it's less. So let's look at them very quickly. What's looking forward? Where do you think in orthopedics that percentage is going to be in 10 years? So could you put that up, Carolina? Again, no right or wrong answer here. It's just interesting to hear from all the attendees where you think it's heading and at what pace. So what we'll do is, Caroline, you can get the answers, and when I finish, we'll see what the actual spread was. So what I will do is I'm going to share a little bit here. All right. So what we'll talk about is the trends, going forward, which you have to be aware of. Especially with robotics and orthopedics. My background's been about 20 years in robotics, both in the soft tissue and hard tissue space. So I'm deeply biased, of course, and then I'm currently in a bionics company in the space as well. So what is robotics? Very quickly, we don't have to go into the deep definition, but you're talking about anything with perception control, sensory feedback, information processing. That's one that a lot of people overlook. The device, performs something that's complicated, and it does it in an automatic fashion, probably a lot quicker than we do it. And it can handle repetitive tasks. All right, so what's the trend? I liken to, where has ortho been historically, and where is ortho going? So if you look at, the past, it's a bit of a Wild West. It was reactive to problems, a lot of preference in it. You can do what you want, you shoot from the hip. And there was significant variation in procedures. You could walk in, whether it be a knee, a hip, an L4, L5 fusion, walk into 10 of them and see, from a process standpoint, 10 different procedures. Now, where's it going, and where will robotics play into that is more into a process optimization. If you're looking at it from a systems engineering process standpoint, you need to control the variation in a process. Standardization, automation helps that. Getting to more precision, more predictability, more reproducibility. I took some photos this is actually from the same show. I don't know if you watch Westworld or not, but it's an interesting combination of the advanced scientific robotics with the Old West. And nice dichotomy there. But as they make these robots, which are of course more humanoid, they do so in an automated fashion. So you have more of those industrial type robots making more intense robots. That's not 10 years from now. That's maybe 100, but not 10. So quickly, I'm going to give you two ways I think you should be thinking about robotics and ortho. Very quickly, I want you to think about it from a process standpoint, and then also location standpoint. So when you look at the process, you go through your SIPOC, your suppliers, your input, your process, your output, and your customers. So where we have been with robotics so far, the players that have been mentioned, Mako, Mazor, Rosa, Excelsius, Navio, Think, all in the room, all doing specific tasks. I think in the future, you're going to see more of those doing specific tasks as well, but you also see an integration of capabilities where some of these will jump from the current specialty within ortho that they're in into others. If they're in knee and hip, they may be going to spine. If they're in spine, they'll go to knee, hip, shoulder. But also what I want you to do is open your mind up and think about the other aspects of the process where you will see robotics. And if you're not aware of that in your strategy and your planning, you could lose out. You're going to see robotics hit in the logistics standpoint. The Amazons of the world use robots left and right in their warehouses. You'll see that more in hospitals. You'll see industrial companies that are currently doing industrial robots crossing over into healthcare. It's already happened. A lot of the German companies are doing it. And you'll see transportation robots working in hospitals, around hospitals. In robotics and imaging and diagnostics, you'll see more of that information processing, the predictive analytics, the assessment before you even go into a case or a procedure, the diagnosis. And on the back end, you'll see bionics in the recovery after ortho, and you'll see bionics in the predictive analytics of how good you did in that procedure and how well you may do into the future. So you'll see these different changes in the next 10 years as robots enter the entire process of orthopedic care. And then the places where robots will be. We've been in the box. The box has been the acute care hospital. In fact, it's been the OR within the acute care hospital. You've seen some of the robots already get into the ambulatory surgery centers, but you will see them in urgent care, imaging, specialty clinics, physician offices, fitness centers, wellness centers, retail pharmacy. So you got to think outside of the physical box. We're in an environment now where we're seeing we are susceptible when we have mass casualty. It's a slow rolling mass casualty event, but we're susceptible because we do everything in the same spot. This will also push to, all right, do we need to do ortho procedures in that same spot that we do mass casualty handling? We'll do it in other sites as well. And additionally, on the downstream, you have robots, they're in rehab now and box, and they'll continue. A lot of it's been on the stroke or different conditions, but I believe you'll see the advent of those into orthopedics. And then also you'll see them back into again, on the downstream, physician offices, wellness centers, fitness centers, and the home. You'll definitely see home devices for post-orthopedic care. And I don't think it's a crazy idea to think that the footprint out there of the LA Fitnesses and all the fitness centers that have a lot of space could easily put in after action, after orthopedic care centers. So I do believe that will be an advent you'll see as robotics gets out of its current box in ortho, which is the OR, and into other parts of the process and also into other spaces in care. So with that being said, I want you to think upstream and downstream in the process. That's where you're going to see it. Don't just think about what you're currently doing, where your product currently is. You have to think up and downstream in order to understand what the implications could be on the way you serve and what you do with your product. And think before and after the hospital as well. So with that being said, so Carolina, what was the final on the numbers? What do we think? Okay.
Okay, very interesting.
So some of you believe, yeah, that we're going to be on the path of what soft tissue has done in 20 years, and others believe will be better. I'll tell you my personal opinion. I think robotics and orthopedics will advance at a much faster level than it did in soft tissue.
All right. Thank you, Chris, very much. That was terrific.